Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Heinen. I'm a director of engineering at Clio, and today I have the honor of facilitating a series of lightning talks featuring three amazing women who have each founded a flourishing law firm.
Woohoo!
The subject of our talk today is around gaining inspiration from your clients. More specifically, you'll hear from these three attorneys how the practice of their law has been influenced and empowered by the clients that they've had the opportunity to serve, and how you can elevate your practice through active listening, thoughtful introspection, and decisive action. I'm going to invite each of our speakers up one by one to share their insights, and I thought we'd start with Sheila Marie. Sheila Marie Finkelstein, a Teach for America school teacher turned California certified specialist in estates, trusts, and probate law, is a Veterans Affairs accredited attorney and the founder of both Ahava Law and the Veteran Legal Institute Estate Planning Clinic. In recognition of her extensive pro bono work and services for veterans, she is the 2021 Lawyer for Warriors Veteran Advocate of the Year and was a finalist for the 2022 Clio Reisman Legal Impact Award. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Sheila Marie.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon. Before I get started today, I'd like to ask all of the veterans and service members in the room to please stand. And I'd like to add any family members of veterans and service members, please stand so that we can give you acknowledgement. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give these brave people a round of applause and appreciation for their service to our country. In my experience, people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. Rings very true. So, a little background to show my deep connection and appreciation for veterans. 4 of my grandparents are military, 2 Air Force, 2 Navy. My grandmother was one of the first women in the military, serving as a Navy wave during World War II. Where's our slides? There you go. Grandmother, grandfather. My mother is an RN with the VA. She's been there for over 30 years. So I grew up volunteering at the VA, at Stand Down, and at other veterans-related service events. I served as a law clerk with the Air Force JAG at Nellis Air Force Base, and I married into a multi-generational Navy family. My spouse and his brothers are all Navy, and now their children are joining as well. I planned to make a career at Air Force JAG when I met my husband, who, as a Navy man, was not keen to become an Air Force spouse. So, because I believe you should plan your life with love, I stayed in California and instead helped to found the Orange County Bar Association, Veterans and Military Committee, and then the Veterans Legal Institute Estate Planning Clinic. At our clinic, we prepare over 100 pro bono estate plans for veterans and their families every year through our monthly clinics. This translates to more than $300,000 worth of pro bono legal services annually. And more importantly, it saves our clients more than $5 million in probate and conservatorship fees. It's very expensive in California. In fact, I was volunteering so much of my time, talent, and treasure that I was consistently being talked with regarding my inability to meet my billable hour requirement and that I was doing too much pro bono. Do you know that our veterans, the people who are willing to literally die for our country, are disproportionately affected by unemployment, homelessness, and are in the criminal justice system, and have a national average of more than 22 daily deaths by suicide? Too many veterans need pro bono legal assistance just to get the benefits that they have earned. They're not aware of the available legal services. Consider this your call to action, regardless of your practice area. There's also issues of military cultural competency, which is a topic much longer than we have time for in today's lightning talk, but it explains why many veterans choose not to seek the assistance and benefits that they're entitled to. In the simplest terms, it boils down to not showing weakness and not wanting to take the benefits from a brother or sister in arms who may need it more. Now, I do not believe there is such thing as too much pro bono. My mother always said, you can't outgive God. So here I was doing too much pro bono when we were finally blessed with pregnancy after years of trying. Unfortunately, the blessing quickly began to feel like a curse when it turned out to be life-threatening, putting me on home health with daily IV infusions just to survive and leaving me with significant disabilities. Thank Hashem, we were blessed with a healthy baby, and I began my long road to recovery. I approached my firm with a desire to return to the office part-time so that I could care for my baby and myself. I was informed that that was not an option, that I needed to return full-time and meet my billable hours, or I should not return at all. I began to consider the merits of going solo. Then, on Father's Day, before my child's first birthday, my father died completely unexpectedly, his first Father's Day as a grandfather. I was beyond devastated. A few days later, I dreamt that I was talking to him. It felt so real. When I woke up, I thought he was still alive. In that dream, he told me, just fucking do it. So I did. First, I needed to create a plan and define success for myself, as opposed to what society dictates success is. To me, success is being able to live my passion while also supporting my family in a manner equal to or greater than my parents provided for me. I founded Ahava Law, where estate planning is planning for life with your love. Ahava Law is founded on my values and my passion for veterans. I learned from my time at JAG that estate planning is not just for the Warren Buffetts and the Elon Musks of the world, but that everyone needs an estate plan to protect the ones that they love, especially those who are deployed from their families and ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. Ahava is Hebrew for love. Anyone who's doing estate planning is doing it because they love someone or because they don't love someone. At Ahava Law, we don't do billable hour requirements. I continue to do hundreds of hours of pro bono every year. And because of this, not despite this, but because of this, I am successful. Financially, I'm bringing home more than I did at the prior firm. And more importantly, I spend less time working and more time living my passion for veterans and being mom. So I invite you to consider the fact that less may actually be more for you too, to define success for yourself, to follow your passion with a dash of creativity to become successful. And if you feel so moved, to support Veterans Legal Institute with your time, talent, or treasure. And if you'd like to read more about Veterans Legal Institute and how to get involved, I've provided several articles and resources in your materials. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me still? Okay, good. Thank you so much, Sheila Marie. Next up, we have Taylor M. Tiemann. Taylor is an attorney and founder of Legal Miga Membership, an accessible legal services membership that's been created specifically for small business owners and entrepreneurs. She assists and advises her clients on how to legally protect their brands, their services, their products, and their content through the effective use of preventative measures and legal strategy. Taylor thoroughly enjoys mentoring young lawyers as well, with the hopes of inflecting the roughly 2% baseline of Latina attorneys in the US. Please welcome to the stage, Taylor.
Thank you. I was so worried about doing this, but now I feel so much better. No one before you has been able to break it down so simply. For the first time, I was able to talk to an attorney and understand what they were telling me. These are all things my clients have said to me or about me in passing, and while we all love glowing reviews, these hit home for me because they were coming from clients whom I believed in, but who were also historically have not had the same advantages as some of their peers in business. My name is Taylor, and I'm an attorney for small business owners, as Tom mentioned. We help entrepreneurs set up proper legal foundations and what they need to succeed. I started my law firm with the intention of helping Latina-owned businesses in a world that doesn't always have their back. Because after shopping small for years and seeing the beauty that these businesses create, I knew I wanted to help bridge the gap between a business owner and their necessary protections. So what do I mean when I say these businesses aren't receiving the same support? For starters, Latinas earn 54 cents on the dollar compared to white men. And this has been speculated as a major driving factor, causing them to exit the workplace and start their own businesses. In addition to this, Latina-owned businesses have been hit hardest by the pandemic. Twice as many Latina-owned businesses experience pandemic closures as compared to their counterparts. This is likely due to the family dynamics that expect the woman to stay home to be a caregiver in many of these families. And to top it all off, Latinx entrepreneurs receive only 2% of venture capital investments. So as you can imagine, Latinas are getting an even smaller piece of that. The odds just aren't in our favor, yet we're succeeding. Since 2007, Latina-owned businesses' growth has skyrocketed by more than 87%. Nationwide, there are currently 4.4 million Latinx-owned businesses, and these businesses generate $700 billion in revenue yearly. And even though this is a community that has historically experienced injustice within our legal system, their resilience is strong. 5% of DACA recipients under the age of 25 have already started a small business. Clearly, this is an inspiring group of entrepreneurs to work with. The challenges they faced alone would deter anyone because starting and running a business is already hard, as many of you with law firms know. But imagine working with these types of hurdles on top of that. I knew that working with this community would be impactful, but what I did not realize getting into this was the personal growth and self-acceptance that I'd come to find over the years working one-on-one with businesses like these. So these are a few of my clients who graciously agreed to let me share their businesses and stories with you. First, we have Wealth Para Todos, and they are a Los Angeles-based financial literacy and coaching firm. Rita, the owner, is a mother of 2, and after paying off her student loan debt, is on track to retire at age 45 with her husband. She now shares her strategies and planning tactics with her community. Kuali is an Oakland-based artisanal salsa company. Owners Janine and Rodrigo are children of immigrants who wanted to bring a family salsa recipe from Mexico to the US because there wasn't anything like that here. They left their corporate jobs to do this, and I'm selfishly glad they did because they have a monthly salsa subscription that I'm a part of, and I highly encourage you to check it out. And finally, Bonita Fierce Candles is a Long Island-based premium candle company. Melissa, the owner, is in a situation just like me. She was not raised to speak Spanish, so she is actively reclaiming her own heritage by bringing candles with scents familiar to Latinx homes all over the US. Recently, her candles landed in Nordstrom, and I couldn't be more excited for her. I ran to the nearest Nordstrom and grabbed a couple. These are just a handful of the type of clients we work with who embrace their cultural identities, their stories, and their previous struggles to run their businesses and improve lives of others. And after working with these businesses for over 3 years, their pure authenticity has really inspired me to lean into what it is we all bring to our businesses, which is our culture. In the Latinx community, I found that it is really difficult to separate the two because so much of who we are is intertwined with our business. And until recently, I was trying so hard to separate them because that's what I thought you were supposed to do with a law firm. I thought that your clients didn't want to see those sides or parts of me, but I was 100% wrong. As a biracial individual, it has also always been a struggle for me in terms of identity and how I present myself in the world. My mother's Mexican and my father's Irish and German. That's where the height comes from. But by leaning into helping my clients and truly acting as a bridge between their success and the protections they need, I've learned a few things. My clients have inspired me not to shy away from my heritage and culture when it comes to business. Our firm website looks very much like this slide. These are our brand colors. When starting this firm, I went through different iterations of what I thought my website should look like, how I should come across in pictures, what I should or should not be wearing in professional shoots and events. But that's not what these types of clients wanted to see. They wanted to see someone who also values the same things they do, is culturally relevant, and who will truly understand them in a non-performative way. So you could say my clients have helped shape how I run this firm, but they've also helped me come to terms with and champion my culture as part of my business model, which in turn has had such a huge impact on my own personal growth. As lawyers, we are often taught to leave the personal stuff at home, but I'm here to tell you that when you show both sides of you, you and your clients get the best of both worlds. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taylor. Finally, last but certainly not least, I'd like to introduce you to our last speaker, Rebecca Bell. Rebecca is the founder of RB Legal, which is an estates, probate, and equine law practice. You might recognize Rebecca from yesterday's keynote, and you might also recognize her from her Reisman Award win last year. Per Rebecca, you cannot have exceptional client service without truly listening to and interacting with your clients. Our clients trust us with intimate details, share their experiences, worries, and triumphs, and we become extended family. Very well said. Please join me in welcoming to the stage, Rebecca.
Hi, thank you. Thanks, Tom. So the culture, the philosophy, and our tagline at our firm is listen first, solve second, care always. And I'm going to tell you how this philosophy provides us with additional client insight, and it benefits all of us. What is your goal when you have an initial meeting with a potential client? Conversion, right? You're there to convince this potential client that you're the best attorney for their needs. However, you've maybe gone into the meeting, they've maybe done some pre-meeting paperwork. You know what they want. So, in my area of practice, estate planning, probate, we often meet with the elderly. When you meet with someone, and it doesn't matter your area of practice, I want you to think of them when they were 30 and had their first child, when they were in their 40s and at the height of their career. Those are all the people that are inside the person in front of you right now. So if you do that short exercise, you will expand your insight into this individual, and you'll have a better context to draft documents for them that make an impact on their lives. So, how many of you have sat down with a spouse or a friend at the end of the day, and they're talking, they're telling you about your day, their day, yada, 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 and you're like, please be quiet. I have a lot of really important things to tell you. There was this driver and then the cat on this Zoom video, and they get done talking and you're like, I have no clue what they said, but thank goodness they shut up because it's my turn. Okay, that's good, but do you do this with your clients? You walk into a client meeting, you've looked at this, right? You know what they need. And all you want to do is to have them quit talking so you can tell them all the important information that you have. Stop and take a breath. You need to refocus, truly listen, and engage with the client. I promise you that both of you will benefit from this. You will learn that they're fearful that their adult child can't manage money. And these are true examples. Or that two equally loved children, one a neurosurgeon and one a kindergarten teacher. And they don't know how to balance the estate between these two. They'll tell you things about themselves. They raced sailboats, they showed dogs, they did art, they built businesses, they listened to John Wayne movies. Whatever it is, engaging with your client does two things. It enriches you personally, and I always say this is money in the karma bank. It may not be in your pocket, but trust me, it will be eventually. And the other is it provides the insight that you need into maybe the true issues that the client can't articulate or is afraid to say, or maybe doesn't want to face. What will happen is you will have a more successful result for that client. Because at the end of the day, you're listening with your ears and your heart, and it will be more valuable for both of you. So what is your goal when you first meet with a potential client? Second, solve second. Once you've listened, you've filled your legal tool belt. You know their quirks, their personality, their talents, their traits. Are they a nervous Nelly? How are you going to have to handle this client to have a successful result? The knowledge that you have can even lead to new opportunities you didn't expect to have with this client. Solving rather rarely happens in a day. Neither does a conversation. So you start on that initial meeting and you build. And that conversation cycle continues. As you have that, the trust builds. They are going to be happier with the end result you provided them because they've learned that you are a trustworthy individual that they can rely on. Solve second. Lastly is care always. In our office, when a client passes away, we have a set of caring hands with a candle in the middle. And when a client passes, we light that candle for the day. It honors the client. It honors the family and lives that they impacted, including ours, because we do develop that kind of a relationship with our clients. When we have a probate client, an early client of mine brought in a picture of her sister and talked about her. That lesson taught me that I want to know the probate people, the people that have passed, not just as a matter number in CLIA, but as an individual who affected lives. And then let me tell you about my favorite client, Jim. Jim came in to me with his daughter and son-in-law. And when an older client comes in with their children, I ask the children to leave so I can have a private conversation with the parent to make sure I'm addressing their wishes. So I turn to Jim and go, "So, Jim, what brings you here today?" Be careful what you ask for. Jim said, "Well, I've been given a diagnosis of 3 to 4 weeks to live." Excuse me? Why in the world did I just ask that question? What am I going to say now? I am in a complete panic on the inside, trying to look very calm and cool. And out of my mouth comes the question, "How does that make you feel, Jim?" Right? Where did that come from? But what Jim did at that point was give me a gift that I carry with me and always will. He told me about ways he was loved, how his mother saved up money because he loved to do artwork and wanted to take art classes, how over the years he gave artwork to friends and family, how he loved watching his daughter grow up, and how he missed his wife who had passed a number of years before. And Jim is telling me not that he had a drama-free life, but that he had a life full of love and opportunity. In the meantime, wandering brain, right? I'm going, what would I do? What would you do if you had a diagnosis for 30 days? Well, for me, I'd be going, oh my gosh, I've got to clean the house. I've got to get my paperwork in order because my house is a mess. I haven't gone through all of this. You know, the mail's been sitting there a week. And for heaven's sakes, I've got to throw away all the underwear with holes in them so nobody knows I actually have them. So, right? All of those things. But what Jim did, Jim said, I was loved, and told me all the ways that he had experienced. He taught me that there was joy and sorrow, that there was opportunity. And in doing so, he made me realize things might not look perfect for me, and they don't have to look perfect to others that come into my life. But you make the most of your life in any given moment. You affirm your grace, find your delight, enjoy your work, enjoy your family, enjoy your hobbies. Don't wait for a diagnosis. Don't wait for this or wait for that. It's okay. Caring about your clients and their experiences opens you up to unexpected, life-changing insights that builds a positive cycle for future clients and, for me, helping me live my best life at work and at home. So, carpe diem. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Rebecca. Hello. Thank you. Thank all of you for coming here and attending our lightning talks today, brief though they may be. I hope that you found some inspiration in the words of our speakers today, and that you've come away with one or two helpful skills or tidbits that you can take to apply in your own practice of law, and that you can take to gain inspiration from your own clients to transform the way that you have the opportunity to serve the folks in your communities. So again, thank you so much. That's the end of our talks. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your time at ClioCon. See you later.